It's recording to the iCloud, so you could ask Radhapriya to access it. Okay, Nidhi, you are the master of ceremonies.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj. I just want to start with roses are red, the sky is blue. Dear Guru Maharaj, we love you. Happy Vyasa Puja, Guru Maharaj. We prayed in a Shingadev that he always blesses you with good health and removes all the obstacles from your projects.
Thank you. I need that.
So Guru Maharaj, would you like to speak, or how do we go forward?
How do you go forward in your life, or how do you go forward in the next hour and a half? Which one?
No, like, would you like to speak or with offerings or offerings and service reports?
What I like to speak about, what I like you to speak about your offerings. Is that what you're asking? You want me to speak about Guru Tattva? Yeah, something about Guru. Well, I could speak a little bit something about Guru in relation to our movement. As you know, Srila Prabhupada is the founder Acharya. So as his representatives, myself, yourselves, all of us, we are representing to the world and to ourselves what he has given us, exactly as he's given it to us, without adulteration. And when we do that, we become qualified as Guru. It doesn't have to be Diksha Guru, but Siksha Guru. So you all will be, should be, can be Siksha Gurus for somebody. Maybe just one person, maybe 10 million people. But whatever the case, you are the postman, as Prabhupada said, the peon, who's delivering the letter. He doesn't take the letter out and change it. So if you deliver the letter, it has potency. And we know, we look at the potency of Krishna consciousness, and we see that the potency is because there's so many people who are looking for genuine spiritual life, who've been cheated by half-truths or total untruths in the spiritual field. When they hear the truth, intelligent people will accept it. And Prabhupada's never flattered anybody to make followers or to get money. Well, Prabhupada was the most compassionate, and he didn't want to cheat anybody by depriving them of Krishna's message as it is. So if you study Prabhupada, you'll see that he always made sure when there was any confusion in the part of a person or a disciple, anything which was misunderstood, not clearly understood, needed some tweaking, he was always there to say, no, it's not like that, it's like this. Why do you say that? What is your logic like that? You know, you have intelligence, how can you say God has no intelligence? We see intelligence in nature, how can you say God's not a person? So as soon as they would say God is the universe, he would correct it. So anything he would correct. So for us, if I speak about myself as Guru, but I'm also speaking about you as Guru, because you're also doing that work. You're also teaching other people, or at least teaching your children or your nephews or your cousins or your neighbors, or somebody sometime in your life is going to ask you, who's Krishna, what is Hare Krishna, and so forth. So of course, Siksha Guru, generally speaking, it's a more formal relationship, but as the broader concept of Guru, Ama Agai Guru Hanatare Deshvisha, Lord Chaitanya told the Kurma Brahmana, Yare Kaha Tare, Yare Dake Tare Kaha Krishna Upadesh. So wherever you see, wherever you go, tell them about Krishna. So our telling them about Krishna is not some concoction. We've read so many books about Krishna. We've read 100 editions of Bhagavad Gita. now I'm expert, like that man in India who's the expert on Hindu mythology, Patanayak, I think his name is. He's expert from the point of view of materialists, but not from the point of view of spiritualists. So we are meant to become expert from the point of view of our parampara, specifically the way Prabhupada gave it to us. And so our life is dedicated to understanding what he gave us. I just heard something last night. I want to read this to you. This is amazing. Well, I think it's common sense, but if I said it, you would probably go in one ear out the other because you've probably heard it 100 times from me. But Prabhupada said it, and I want to read what he said. If you don't read my books, you're putting your life in danger. If you don't read my books, you're putting your life in danger. We could also say, if you don't read my books, you're putting other people's lives in danger, because if you're a doctor and you're sick, you don't know how to cure yourself, you're useless to cure anybody else. So if you're in danger, how will you help anybody? So what Prabhupada means here is, if you don't understand Krishna conscious philosophy clearly, and if you don't regularly listen, you won't be able to maintain your spiritual life. And then what to speak of maintaining the lives of others. So the primary aspect of Guru Tattva from the position of the Guru is to represent his Guru without speculating, but to adapt it to the audience so they can understand it, and to adapt it to time and place, because some practices are not suitable or even possible for people today. And for example, when I'm in India and it's an all Indian audience, I might speak a little differently than in America with an all American audience, because their worldview, their values, their upbringing, their samskars are slightly different. So what may be, as Prabhupada says in his books, what may be possible in one country is not possible in another. So it's not that the message has changed, but the spicing, it's the same potatoes and cauliflower. But when we serve it in America, we use 1/4 the amount of chili and ginger and pepper and turmeric and oil than you use in India to suit the taste. So because if I use the same amount you use, they won't eat it. And if I cook it the way we cook in America, you won't eat it. So something like that. But it's the same cauliflower. We're not changing the cauliflower. No, we have to give you cauliflower and potatoes, or we're making a samosa, cauliflower, peas, and potato. If that's the standard samosa, we have to do it that way, but we'll spice it differently. So my job is to help you understand Prabhupada, and for your own benefit. And also the reason is now with Gaudiya Vaishnavism, it's so broad. There's so many Gaudiya movements. And although basically they're all the same, there are details which are not the same. And even in the time of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, he had disciples that disagreed with him, that left, that said that his father was not bona fide, he was not bona fide, which then means that Prabhupada must not be bona fide because he's following them, and if they're not bona fide. If you follow a person that's not bona fide, you're not bona fide. And sometimes the criticisms are subtle. You wouldn't even notice them, that, oh, this is not what Prabhupada says. So we have to be careful so that we do notice these things. So we have to know what Prabhupada taught. Otherwise, we'll hear something that somehow is slipped into ISKCON from somewhere. And sometimes you think, is that what we believe? I don't know, I'm not sure. So that, of course, that's a historical reality in every religion, that deviation, philosophical deviation is there, and that was Prabhupada's biggest concern. But mission deviation also. What is Prabhupada's mission? Then do we become a mundane institution? You have the YMCA in I think, do you have a YMCA in India? Yeah. So the YMCA was originally meant to train, I think it was originally meant to train Christian missionaries. Something like that. It was a training. And over time, it turned into a fitness center. Interesting, isn't it? And in America, it's no longer the YMCA, it's the YMA, Young Men's Association. They dropped the Christian. Harvard University, you must have heard of Harvard. I believe it's considered the best university in America, top university. When it is established, only Christian ministers could be professors. It was a theological school. So now it's a secular school. So things shift and drift. And that's a very real concern. So we need to understand not only Prabhupada's Siddhanta, as Prabhupada, Shastric Siddhanta as Prabhupada presents it, but we need to understand his heart, his mission, how he deals with people. There's a beautiful story. I think one devotee was smoking ganja, and Prabhupada told his secretary, tell him that if he doesn't stop smoking ganja, I will reject him. So the devotee was shocked that Prabhupada would reject a disciple. And he said, sure, and he doubted that Prabhupada would do that. He said, Srila Prabhupada, will you actually reject him if he doesn't stop smoking? And Prabhupada said, no, I would not reject any disciple. I just said that to get him to stop, to scare him, kind of. I don't think Prabhupada said scare him, but we understand, to shake him up. So we need to hear these things. We need to understand. There was a devotee who left, and Prabhupada said, go get him. He said, at least 3 times, beg him to come back. If he doesn't come back after 3 times, then okay. And one time, a devotee was trying to get another devotee back, and he gave up. And he said, Prabhupada, it's useless. He's too far gone. And Prabhupada said, you don't understand Nityananda and Prabhu. And he said, what don't I understand? He said, you do not understand Nityananda Prabhu's forgiveness is unlimited. So, and then we also hear stories where Prabhupada would chastise someone over what we would consider something not chastisable, just like something little, like the other side of the coin. And a lot of times we may think something's not important or it's not a big deal. And then Prabhupada chastises somebody. And then we're shocked and say, oh, it is a big deal. There's a story, I don't want to shake you up, but it will shake you up. Prabhupada was coming back from a morning walk, and he was being greeted by a devotee, and the devotee didn't bow down. And Prabhupada said, this is the beginning of his fall down. So he wouldn't bow down to his guru. So we'll just look at that and go, well, it's public, I shouldn't bow down. And sometimes there's that consideration. People will think you're weird. But, Prabhupada said something like that, and we would never think that way, It's just shakes. He wasn't chastising the devotee directly. Indirectly, he was. Or, Prabhupada would tell somebody to do something, and then they would do it wrong. I'll tell you another story, just to shake you up. Are you ready to be shaken? I said, okay. Do I have your permission? You're going like this. In America, that means no, don't shake me up. But I know you mean yes. But I know you're going like this, but inside, don't make it too heavy. Anyway, it's just a story. I'm not accusing anybody of anything. It's a story. Right? Really, probably doesn't relate to anything you'll experience in your life, but you'll understand the principle. So I had the fortune of being in Detroit, Michigan, which is where we have this big mansion. It's called the Fisher Mansion. You've probably heard about it. And so at that time, Prabhupada came to see it and decided to purchase it. And then he left and he went to Canada, to Toronto, which is not far from there. And so what happened was the person who was selling the house, the real estate agent, some of his friends said, you shouldn't, this place is too nice. It shouldn't be sold to the Hare Krishnas. Because at that time, people didn't understand our movement. They thought we were some strange cult. And Detroit is the most crime-ridden city, well, at least it was, maybe still is, or one of the top in America. And that neighborhood was like the worst neighborhood. So we're buying a building in the city which has the highest crime rate in the part of the city that has the highest crime rate. So that's, double trouble. And so the devotees began thinking, the man doesn't want, he's hesitating to sell it to us, although I believe it went into escrow, so there was a contract. So I think the man was just trying to get us to agree, not to buy it. And in addition, we were thinking, well, maybe this is Krishna speaking through him because it's a dangerous neighborhood. And why would we want a temple in such a dangerous neighborhood? And then all the devotees have to live in this neighborhood. So the GBC had spoken to Prabhupada, and Prabhupada really liked the house. And when he left, he said, please get the house. And so Prabhupada was thinking about the house. This is typical. Where there's some important preaching project, it would be on Prabhupada's mind. He was thinking about it. And then so then Prabhupada asked this GBC, so did we secure the house? Is it ours? And he was saying, well, we're thinking now not to get it because they don't really want to sell it to us. They have doubts. We have doubts about living there. So as I said, Prabhupada loved this building and he wanted it. And Prabhupada knew the neighborhood would change. And the neighborhood now is it was all rebuilt up because somehow when we came there, everything got better, which has happened, I'm sure, in other places. Yeah, it has happened in other places. So, you know what Prabhupada told him? He said, if you don't get that temple, what is the use of going on? Like, you might as well just kill yourself. Like, get the temple or jump off the Empire State Building. Of course, Prabhupada wouldn't want us to kill ourselves. But in other words, this is my order. So if you can't fulfill my order, what is the use of breathing? You're wasting oxygen. Let someone else breathe it who could do some service, right? So it's important for us to understand both these sides, Prabhupada's very compassionate, lenient side, and then how when something was important, he could just basically pulverize you into doing it if it was important. There was another story. You may know this story. It's the Juhu story. So to make a long story short, it was the intention of Mr. Nair to cheat us, to get us to make a down payment of $50,000. And whenever that was 1974, which is probably like 300, 400,000 in today's currency, with an intention of making it impossible for us to build a temple. And then we would have to relinquish in the contract, I guess it said if a temple isn't built by a certain time, the land is no longer yours and you would lose your deposit. And so we somehow or other weren't able to get permits to build a temple. We didn't know why. And then our lawyers told us, you should actually just forget about it, because for whatever reason, they told us forget about it, like you're not going to get it. And prior to our lawyers telling us this, we actually had lost the land. But Prabhupada had tricked Mr. Nair into re-signing it back. He just bewildered him. Prabhupada had a whole strategy, had a whole plan, and he bewildered him and got him to sign it. So after that, Tamal Krishna Maharaj went to the lawyers, and the lawyers convinced him, don't get the land. It so happens those lawyers, which were our lawyers, were working for Mr. Nair, and that's why they said that. Did you know that? Well, I guess you're all Indian, so that's kind of normal, right? That's just another normal day in India right now. Well, Hemant knows that. He deals with lawyers all the time. He doesn't trust lawyers. Maybe he trusts a few, but most of them, like, he doesn't trust lawyers, and I don't trust allopathic doctors. So anyway, so Tamal Krishna Maharaj cancels the agreement, so the land goes back to Mr. Nair. Prabhupada calls him, what's going on with the land? He said, Prabhupada, lawyers told us to cancel, we canceled the agreement, right? What does Prabhupada say? All Tamal Krishna Maharaj hears is click, Prabhupada hangs up the phone. Tamal Krishna Maharaj, Prabhupada saved the day. I think Mr. Prabhupada prayed that Mr. Nair would just kind of disappear. And by Prabhupada's powerful prayers, this is not something to do at home and imitate. By Prabhupada's powerful prayers, Mr. Nair did disappear. He left his body, and Prabhupada then convinced his wife, who just broke down and felt horrible about what had happened, to cooperate, and she did. But Tamal Krishna Maharaj says for 2 months, Prabhupada would tell everybody, wherever Tamal Krishna Maharaj, he said, you see this foolish boy? He gave the land back to Mr. Nair. Like, he'd be in front of life members, most important people in Bami. You see this, he said for 2 months he was doing that. Yeah, it's just like Tamal Krishna Maharaj is like Prabhupada's right hand. And, your right hand does that. You're going to chastise your right hand to never do that again. Don't be so foolish. So acting independently of the guru. On the other side of the equation, he said that Prabhupada was never unkind to me and never gave up on me and always gave me mercy. So, there's so many stories like this of Prabhupada's mercy and Prabhupada's chastisement. And so we, as followers of Prabhupada, we want to go beyond the story to understand what is going on in Prabhupada's heart so that we can also do the same thing. Because obviously when Prabhupada chastises, it's only for the welfare of the disciple. But Prabhupada knows who to chastise. One time Prabhupada chastised a cook. He very rarely would chastise women. And he said, I chastised her because I knew she could take it. And if he knew you couldn't take it, he wouldn't. And a lot of you say, Guru Maharaj, why don't you chastise me? Now you know why. Well, it's also not my nature, but you've never seen, I don't know if any of you have ever seen me angry. Maybe you have, but if you've ever seen me angry, you probably wouldn't want to ask me to chastise me because I rarely get angry. So, it's like I have so much potential because I don't lose my anger. So if it comes out, it's like you wouldn't want to see it. So, but if chastisement is necessary, then Prabhupada would do it. And sometimes Prabhupada chastised and it destroyed a devotee, and Prabhupada would call the devotee back and actually apologize. Because Prabhupada, what he was only trying to do was encourage. His mood was only encourage devotees, and the chastisement was also indirectly an encouragement, or maybe sometimes directly an encouragement. But he was so concerned that devotees would be encouraged. So even sometimes he would chastise, and he's the guru. And now as the guru, he's taking this humble position and apologizing. Is that amazing? Because he's so concerned about the disciple. So we want to represent Prabhupada's mood, that compassionate mood, that strict mood, And the problem becomes when we go out of balance. We're either always strict and not compassionate, always compassionate and not strict. So there, there's a balance there. And so whenever you hear about Prabhupada or read about what Prabhupada said, often there's the exact opposite aspect of his character or an opposite side of the philosophy, which relates to different people, because not every point relates to everybody. So sometimes Prabhupada will make a point, and then he'll make another point the next day That relates to, let's say, grihastas, where the class before related more to celibates, single brahmacharis, or single women who are trying to be like what we call brahmacharini. So what I'm doing, my job, is also what you're supposed to be doing. You know, I am a disciple of Prabhupada. You're a grand disciple. Well, what's the difference? Well, in one sense, I was just speaking to a devotee who came to ISKCON in 1977. He said, I missed being initiated by Prabhupada by some months. He said, but actually it was good because it keeps me more humble. So I'm not a Prabhupada disciple. And I was thinking it's also good because a lot of Prabhupada disciples have left, where you're under the guidance of your guru. So you're all Prabhupada disciples, but you're being guided by someone who can focus the lens, so to speak. So you'll hopefully more clearly understand Prabhupada. But basically, we're all meant to do the same thing. We have the same guru. You and I have the same guru. I'll say, no, we have different guru. Well, yeah, okay. But you have different guru. My mind is also my guru, so we have the same two gurus, right? So at least we have one same guru, and therefore we have the same mission, to understand Prabhupada, to understand his teachings, his examples, his compassion, his strictness, his vision for ISKCON, his mission, all these things. That's our duty, because you will have to pass it down to other people. And if you pass down the wrong thing, then you're guilty. And you'll have to come back and take birth to correct it and give the right thing and come back and understand the right thing. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. I think there's one other thing we have to say. When you become a devotee, one of the things you learn is you're not Hindu any longer, but you're Vaishnava, because Hindu has so many connotations of what it means to be Hindu. And I think that one of the challenges that you have, we don't have in the West, is distinguishing Vaishnavism from Hinduism, because you may have grown up doing something and you make assumptions that that's what we do in Vaishnavism, and sometimes it is, and sometimes it isn't. And so that's just an added job you have, not to make any assumptions that, you know, what your grandmother taught you is what Prabhupada would want you to do. Maybe it is, but don't assume it isn't. Find out if it is. And if it's not, and if it's antagonistic to the principles of bhakti, that even though it's something you did from the time you were a child, it may have to be given up or put in proper perspective, or in some way adjusted, or completely demolished if it's Mayavad, or equating devatas with Krishna like that. So that's something just to be aware of. And we also in the West, we do have a little of that problem. When we were young devotees, we thought if it comes from India, it's bona fide. If it comes from America, it's not bona fide. I think there are devotees who still think like that. But you know, it could be an atom bomb and it was made in India, and we thought, oh, it's from India. Let's light it. It must be good. You know, so we had no discrimination. So obviously, so many good things come from India. This is where Krishna is, and the holy dhams, and we could say human civilization has its cradle in India. So I'm not trying to minimize Indian culture, but as you know, a lot of Indian culture is Muslim culture, isn't it? 700 years of Muslim culture that became Indian. And if you don't believe me, look at a photo of a Muslim wedding and look at a photo of a Hindu wedding and see if you notice any difference. The only difference you see is the woman is wearing, instead of a sari, she's wearing a long dress, and I don't know what you call it. But other than that, it's pretty much the same, isn't it? The way they dress, more or less. At least in ISKCON it is, you know. I have my jokes. Now I'm going to a Muslim wedding, you know. The big turbans and the long shiny kurtas go down below your knees and all that, you know, it's not really Vaishnav culture. So Yeah, just something to be aware of. Not everything Indian is bad and not everything Indian is good. And as you know, Nehru was desperately trying to be British. So you have 700 years of Islam influence and the first prime minister after independence trying to become, for the life of him, become British and completely ignore everything Gandhi had given. So, and now you're like the tech capital of the universe, which is so ironic. When Prabhupada didn't want you to export IT technology, he wanted you to export Bhagavatam. Anyway, Hare Krishna. Thank you for listening.
Thank you for the wonderful stories, Guru Maharaj. I was thinking we can move to Pushpanjali. If that's okay. Sureshwar Prabhu, can you please take on Pushpanjali?
You have to unmute, Sureshwar. Okay, yeah.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances unto your lotus feet.
Hare Krishna. Jai Prabhupada.
So now we'll do Pushpanjali. We'll start with Pranam Mantra. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Guruve Chisti Chestabhyam Mahatma Prabhuve Sada Tat Prabhu Bhava Rupaya Kirtana Haldaine Nama Tatu Prakasa Bhaktayam Tat Paraya Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimade Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशकारिणे ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्री गुरुवे नमः श्री चैतन्य मनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपं कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्री गुरुं श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्री गुरुन् वैष्णवांश्च श्री रूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं च नमा ओम विष्णुपदाय कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमदे भक्ति वेदांता स्वामी इति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशकारिणे वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो 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 महावदन्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नामने गुरुतुसे नमः हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीन बंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांता राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी दशभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरि प्रिये जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधरा श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. Now we'll offer Pushpanjali to our Guru Maharaj. Pada, 3 times we'll offer prayers. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Guruve Chitti Chestabhyam Mahatma Prabhuve Sada Tat Prabhu Bhava Rupaya Kirtana Haldaine Nama Tattva Prakasa Bhaktanam Tatparaya Cha Tesa Pushpanjali. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Guruve Chitti Chestabhyam Mahatma Prabhuve Sada तत्प्रभु भाव रूपाया कीर्तन हलदायिने तत्व प्रकाश भक्तानां तत्पराय च तेष पुष्पांजलि. नमा ओम विष्णुपादाय कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमदे भूतले गुरुवे चित्ति चेष्टाभ्यम महात्मा प्रभुवे सदा तत्प्रभु भाव रूपाया कीर्तन हलदायिने नमः तत्प्रकाशभक्तानां तत्पराय च केश पुष्पांजलि। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। हिज ग्रेस महात्मा प्रभु व्यास पूजा की जय। हरे कृष्ण।
Okay. Every flower you offer represents the soul. And the soul is surrendering. So you've just surrendered. And actually, as Prabhupada said, there's nothing to surrender because nothing is ours. So surrender is really just a word which is used for people who are falsely holding on to things that don't belong to them. Like, give me back what you've stolen from me. Surrender it. Yeah, but so it sounds funny. Surrender back what you've stolen from me. But that's what we say, the flower represents ourselves, and the offering is our surrender to Guru and Krishna. But what's there to surrender? It doesn't belong to us. It's an illusion. So that's why the word surrender scares us, because it strikes into this illusion that something is mine, including my body. But it actually belongs to Krishna. So you've all just surrendered. Congratulations. I don't know if you know that, you did that, but I just wanted to let you know that you did. Hare Krishna. Guru Nishta and Hemant, when I'm looking at you, you almost look like twin brother and sister. It's so funny. Isn't it? Don't they? If I meet you together, I go, oh, brother and sister. Hare Krishna. So what is next?
Guru Maharaj, I was thinking we can have bhoga offerings, and then as much as time we have, we can do service reports and speaking our offerings.
Okay. Wow, this is really good, because you're making an offering which I will eat with my eyes. Then you can make whatever you want. Whereas if I'm present, you can't. So maybe you had fun this time. More fun than when you're like, Parshana doesn't have fun cooking for me because I say, don't make this, don't make that, don't make this. What about this? No. What about that? No. What about this? No. What about that? Make some steamed vegetables. So I hope you had more fun this time. Okay, so I guess you can do one by one. You can show. You
Yes, Guru Maharaj.
you can call on an individual devotee, and then
Please,
if
can you please?
if everyone's puts themselves on speaker mode, then you can see when they'll come up bigger, full size.
Please, can you raise your hands who all would like to offer? We have Manjali Mataji and Dinanath Prabhu.
Okay. You have to, if you speak, speak something and explain it.
Hare Krishna Gurudev, this is a little offering for you. This is khichdi, which is favorite of you, made from brown rice, moong dal, and vegetables.
Okay.
This is palak, spinach with brinjal, and cut Alfonso tomato, lychees,
Wow.
Alfonso mango, and lychees. And this is sweet, which is sugar-free, made from gram flour and dates.
Wow.
And this is your small birthday cake, a kind of brownie, but it is not actually brownie. It is sugar-free dates with oats and dry fruits. non-fire
Okay.
cooking.
So, you know what you can do with the lychees? Did you know you can freeze them? And so when I
Yes.
come to Pune, then you can unfreeze them. You can
Haribol.
freeze like a dozen of them. So, thank you very much. So whoever's going to show, turn off your blurry background because it's hard.
Oh.
Anyway, we kind of saw it, but it was going in and out of the background. So I'm just saying for the next, yeah. Thank you. Oh, very healthy. The problem, we have a problem now. I didn't eat breakfast, and right after this, I give a class. So everything I look at makes me hungry. I don't know. Vacho vegam manasakroda vegam, that verse, I have to chant that verse while I'm watching this. Okay. Thank you, Manjari and Dinanath.
Thank you, Mataji and Prabhu. Who else would like to offer next? I don't see any hands up. All right, I can go next. Okay, so Guru Maharaj, I have cauliflower and potato sabji with roti for you.
Pull
I have
it, pull it towards you so I can see it. Pull it, keep pulling it back. The other way. All I see
Can
is,
you see
keep pulling. Yeah. All right. Okay, that's good. Now what are those leaves? Curry leaves?
it? No, we put some coriander and some mint,
Oh.
and then the tulsi
Mint.
on top.
Wow. Wow. Amazing. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Maharaj. So now we have Guru Vashtakam, but Madhuri Radhika Mataji needs a few minutes. Okay, so Madhuri Radhika Mataji, I'm sorry, Ratikili Mataji has something to offer Guru Maharaj.
So, Hare Krishna Gurudev, please accept my humble obeisances, O Guru Srila
Jai.
Prabhupada.
Hari Bolo.
Haribol. So, I've made I made a coconut cookies and mango lassi.
Wow. Wow. It's only coconut? Nothing else?
No, it's coconut and flour and butter and all the good stuff.
Wow. Thank you.
Oh, and Amala made it for you. I don't know if you
Wow.
it.
Thank you. Thank you, Amala. Gurudev.
Yes.
You want to hear a funny story?
Yeah.
That sometimes devotees were singing Sri Gauru Karuna Sindhu. Sri Gauru Karuna Sindhu. That means cow, not guru. And Prabhupada had to correct them. It's not, I'm not a cow, I'm your guru. Anyway, she didn't say go, she spelled it properly. Guru. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Thank you, Ratikili Mataji. I see Sureshwar Prabhu's hand is up.
Okay, I hope Varshana had fun cooking.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Somehow today some guests are coming, so Varsana was busy to receive them. So
Oh,
we are offering some fruits.
chiku,
Cherry
Yeah.
Maharaj.
cherries. That's good.
See,
It's the lychee season. Oh my God. Mango. Oh,
Banana.
what's
Banana.
that? Banana.
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 Dry fruits.
dry fruits.
Oh, thank you. Hare
See,
Krishna.
Maharaj accept. We are yesterday
Varshan.
Vikram Baldev.
Tell
Maharaj,
Varshan.
yesterday Vikram Baldev Prabhu had called her. He's inviting you to Bangalore for some classes.
Wait. Say that again. Who called?
Vikram Baldev Prabhu had called me up yesterday.
Uh-huh.
He wants you to be in Bangalore and give some seminar. So he'll connect you within a
Okay.
day or two.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Barshan. Barshan. Radhe Radhe.
Hare Krishna
Okay.
Maharaj.
We have Hemant is ready. And I think Madhuri Radhika is also, no?
Madhuri Radhika Mataji will be singing the Vashtakam.
Oh, okay. So Hemant has something. You know how to cook, Hemant? A little bit, right?
Not a little bit. Not. I have got Kesar mangoes for you, Maharaj.
Oh, wow.
These are Kesar mangoes.
We get with the best mangoes in it, we get in America are at the Indian store. Best,
And
but
I have.
expensive.
Yes. So you can come to India if you want.
Or come to India to have dinner. You know, like the rich people, they fly across the world to have dinner. The next day they fly back. Yeah. I think ISKCON needs its own airplane, you know, that we could, you know, just the airplane can move around and take us all over, you know. With all the money we spend on tickets, we probably could buy 10 airplanes. Okay, then we could fly to India for dinner because we could sleep on the way over. Okay, who's next?
Guru Nishtha Mataji has some fruits for you.
Okay,
Apple and dates, Guru Maharaj.
mhm.
I don't know.
Right, are those imported apples or local apples?
Indian apples, Guru
Oh,
Maharaj.
Indian apples.
But they are sweet. The dates are also sweet.
Dates are sweet. Indian apples might be sweet, but very mushy, right?
Not these ones somehow. I don't know.
Yeah, well, if any of you can figure out how to grow apples that are crisp and juicy, you become a millionaire because local Indian apples, the best ones are the imported ones from New Zealand.
Yeah.
So if you can
Okay.
grow apples like that, maybe Hemant will figure it out. He'll grow apples. He'll grow apples and compete with New Zealand's apples and put them out of business. Hemant is developing his green thumb. Thank you. Hare
Thank
Krishna.
Thank you so much, everybody, for your wonderful offerings. Now, I think we can have the Vashtakam. Madhuri Radhika Mataji will be singing.
Okay.
Hare Krishna, Dandavad Pranam Guru Maharaj. Please accept my humble obeisances and all the devotees over here. Happy Vyasa Puja, Guru Maharaj. And I would like to sing Guru Ashtakam representing everyone. So I'm going to start. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. संसार दावानलिधलोका त्राणाय कारुण्य घनघनात्मं तप्तस्य कल्याण गुणानवासा वन्दे गुरो श्रीचरणरविन्दं महाप्रभो कीर्तन नित्यगीता वारित्रमाज्ञान मनसुरसेना रोमाञ्चकं पाशुतरङ्गभाजो वन्दे गुरो श्रीचरणरविन्दं श्रीविग्रहाराधननित्यनाना शृङ्गारदान् मन्दिरमर्दनादौ युक्तस्य भक्तासनियन्ततोऽपि वन्दे गुरो श्रीचरणरविन्दं चतुर्विराशीं भगवत्प्रसादो स्वधन्वतीर्थान् हरिभक्तसङ्गं कृत्वैततीर्थे भजत madhurya leela guna rupanam ram pratyekshana sadhana lodupasya vande guru shri charanarabindam kunja yuno ratikeli sijay yaya vidyu kira prakshaniya tatrakshita sharati vallavasha vande guru shri charanarabindam shasha taridvena samasta sastrai uttastata bhavataiva sarvi kintu prabholya priya eva tasya vande guru shri charanarabindam yasya prashadan bhagavat prashadan yasya prasadan nagati kutaupi dayan stuvanta shashasti sandam vande guru shri charanarabindam 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 jaya jaya Prabhupada 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 jaya jaya Prabhupada jaya jaya Gurudev Gurudev jaya jaya Gurudev jaya Vaishnava Thakur ami tomar kukur Vaishnav Thakur jaya Vaishnav Thakur. Thank you so much, Guru Maharaj.
Duri Radhika, who was playing the mridanga?
It's my nephew, Maharaj. I will call. Come, come. Actually, he's 19 years old and he also chant 5 rounds. Aunga, please.
Let's see him. Let's see his. Say hello. Thank you.
Hare
Dhanyavad.
Krishna. Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hare
I
Krishna.
can.
What? You're in Vrindavan now?
No, Maharaj, I'm in Nepal now.
Oh, Nepal. Okay.
So I have 2 more nephews also, Maharaj. All of them chant Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
And
Hari
they
Bol.
have a tulsi kanti on the neck with neck.
Nice. Hare Krishna. Nice to see you.
Happy Vyasa Puja.
Happy Vyasa Puja. Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Thank you.
Maharaj.
Maharaj.
Hare Krishna. Jai. Okay. So we have 25 minutes left. If you like to, whatever you'd like to do.
Yes, Guru Maharaj. We will start with the offerings. So first we have Puja Mataji, who has written a poem for
Puja,
you.
what city
She
are
would
you
like
in?
to recite that.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Happy Vyasa Puja. I have written a poem for you. It's a short poem actually. So my humble opens to your lotus feet. All glories to you, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Here's the poem. You're the boatman willing to carry the birds like me with broken wings to the other side of the shore. But what do? I keep falling deeper into the sea surrounded by darkness. Can you bless me with the rope of your mercy? I can hold on to it for a lifetime after lifetime. I don't know what else can I do to pass through this ocean like Supreme Lord's design. Can I hold on to your mercy until the end of my life? That's
Well, don't stop holding at the end of your life. Forever.
Yeah,
You have to
even
change that
after-
last line. Forever.
yes, forever. Yes,
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
The Prabhupada explained that, the power of mercy. The mercy comes by pleasing the Vaishnavas, pleasing the Guru. We lose the mercy by displeasing Vaishnavas and displeasing the Guru. And Prabhupada also says the mercy comes in the form of their words. But the words alone are not the mercy complete, because the Guru gives mercy in words, and then you have to give mercy to yourself, which you do by following the words. Because otherwise, it's like you get a food, but you can't digest it. Or you get it, somebody brings you food and you don't eat it. So it's always important to remember that that sometimes our prayer to our Guru is, in addition to please give me your mercy, it's also please help me take advantage of the mercy you've given already. So both things are there. Right, Puja? We have been given so much mercy, and sometimes we don't take advantage of it. So we also pray
Yes.
to that, like, sometimes you're in difficulty and then you'll go to Prabhupada's books and you'll find something to help you. And then you might think, if I would have read this previously, I probably wouldn't even be in difficulty now. So, taking advantage of the mercy that Prabhupada has given is very important. Or I don't chant my rounds well, or I'm not associating, or whatever I may not be doing, means the mercy is there, I'm not using it. So that's also our prayer, to have the intelligence and strength to utilize the mercy that's given. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Guru Nishta, I have to tell you something. I think we just posted this on Facebook. I was listening to an interview by a godbrother named Kirti Raj, who said when he was with Prabhupada, he said, Prabhupada always thanked, when anybody did something to him, he always thanked them. He would always say, thank you very much. Just like Jai Om Vishnupad, and then at the end, Prabhupada says, thank you very much. Like, thank you for what? Thank you for coming to the temple and being here in the kirtan. So when Prabhupada was complimented, or someone did some service, or someone gave him a gift, thank you. He was always thanking. And so a disciple doesn't like it, feels weird. But that's how Prabhupada felt.
Wow.
Yeah, he said he never saw when someone did something for Prabhupada that Prabhupada did not say thank you. And I have another story. It's a beautiful story. It's not exactly on this point, but it's very similar. A devotee received a beautiful sweater from his mother. I think his mother made the sweater for him. And it was saffron. He was a brahmachari. I'm assuming he was a brahmachari. That's why it's saffron. And he saw the sweater and said, it's so beautiful. He said, I have to give this to Prabhupada. So when he said to Prabhupada, here, my mother made this sweater. I want to give it to you. And Prabhupada said, I can't take that sweater. Your mother made it for you. And the devotee was like crushed. He said, how can I take this sweater? And he said, no, but Prabhupada, please, I want you to have it. But your mother made it for you. I can't take it. No, please, Prabhupada. Prabhupada said, okay. He took off the sweater that he had. He said, well, if I'm going to take that sweater, I'll give you this sweater.
Wow.
So they exchanged sweaters. So that was, So that's how Prabhupada felt. He never felt like I'm Guru, I'm entitled, any of that. And very sensitive to devotees, parents, how they felt, and like that. Okay. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Puja. You inspired us. Oh, you're in Mumbai.
Thank you, Puja Mataji. Now we have Kar.
Juhu, Santa Cruz. Santa Cruz, what's the other place? You go past Santa Cruz, what's the next place? Andheri?
It's Andheri.
Andheri is the other direction.
Yes.
I am knowing. I lived there for 3 months. 1983. From October to December, I lived in Juhu. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Krishna. Guru Maharaj, now we have Karishma. She would also like to read her offering.
Karishma, where are you? What city?
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances.
So what city are you in now?
Maharaj, I'm currently in Gujarat state,
Oh.
in the district Kutch, and I'm living in Gandhidham.
Oh, and how old are you?
I'm 14 years.
Oh, Hare Krishna. Okay,
Hare Krishna.
you can go ahead.
Being inspired by, yes, Guru Maharaj, being inspired by you and the song that you produced, chant from the album Songs for Krishna's Kids. There's my little offering I've written, which I would like to offer at the dust of your lotus feet. Please accept my insignificant service and give me your divine mercy and grace. You say, chant, 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 everybody chant. Lord Nitai and Gauraga instructed this to everyone they saw, wherever they went. The transcendental and merciful holy name can liberate everyone, from a human being to an ant. Relishing the mellows of the transcendental holy name, why I can. Maybe the reason is, as they said, I am caught up in a whirlpool of activities so foolish. I'm sinking lower and lower, but it's still that I just can't see. Being in such a conditioned position, the most merciful mellows of the holy name, how will I relish? There'll be no more sorrows, no more sins, no more miseries, no more misfortune. But for that, we need to know that the soul is the servant of Krishna eternally. But I need your mercy to understand this fact truly. Finally, with your mercy will I chant Hare Krishna with my eyes filled with tears, and my body will shiver, having no more worldly fears, as they said. Now I simply want to chant Radha Krishna. These are the only alms I beg, having nothing more to pay. When the name is chanted with love, it will finish my bhakti seeds stove. All the dangers will be gone, and mercy will come from above to save all the fallen. Dear Maharaj, please be merciful and save this one. Thank you, Guru Maharaj. Your heart and ears to me as you lend for so many countless offenses that I've committed at your lotus feet, and of Vaishnavas I always repent. But despite that, thank you for in my heart and life always being present. I'm sorry, Maharaj.
Krishna, I don't think you committed any offenses. That's not possible. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much for your offering.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Hare
Thank
Krishna.
you, Karishma. Guru Maharaj, now we have Madhuri Radhika Mataji. She would like to read a poem. She would like to recite a poem.
Okay.
Thank you, Karishma. It was such a nice presentation from his side. I really got inspiration from it also. And actually, I wanted to speak out one small poem. Actually, it was written by one of my authority from Nepal to her Shiksha Guru. But whenever I chant whenever I sing this poem, I always remember my Gurudev. So I would like to sing for this. Right now, I don't have ukulele, so that maybe I will speak. We feel so happy, we feel so glad, we feel so much bliss, not a tinge of sad. We feel so happy, we feel so glad, we feel so much bliss, not a tinge of sad. We were drowning in material existence, stuck with anartha's bodily conceptions. We were drowning in material existence, stuck with anartha's bodily conception. You came with Prabhupada, Krishna consciousship, taught us loving relationship. We feel so happy, we feel so glad, we feel so much bliss, not a tinge of sad. Animals we were, you taught us to be sane, face every challenge and fly on plane. Co-pilot Nityananda is always there for you. Just don't give up is all you have to do. We feel so happy, we feel so glad. We feel someone's blessed, not a tinge of sad. Faith in Maha Mantra is what you gave. Pulled us out from this mental cave. All time optimism, yes, that you shared. Everyone's spiritual life is all that you care. We feel so happy, we feel so glad. Feel someone's blessed, not a tinge of sad. You are our living Srimad Bhagavatam, raising our consciousness to Krishna Katham. You gave your finger and taught us how to hold when we kept falling down. You won't like you more. Feel so happy, we feel so glad. We feel someone's blessed, not a tinge of sad. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much. Hari Bol. Jai. Very beautiful. You have to record it now. Get your band together and record it.
Thank you so much, Madhuri Radhika Mataji, for that beautiful song. Next, we would hear the offering from our Ymca Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, Dandat Pranam. Jai Shri Prabhupada. Actually, there are a lot of things, but one particular thing which I remember very strongly is that this is, I think, exactly 10 years ago. And I was staying in central India, which is the state of Chhattisgarh. And I had no association there. And everything I had was online. And when I came to Kolkata to attend the Japa workshop there, and we went to Mayapur together. And I didn't know any Vaishnava etiquettes or anything. And I had heard a story of Ramayana that Lord Ram would sit under the tree and the monkeys would sit above the tree. And Lakshman would ask them, do you all have brain or not? So, so I remember we were going by a train to Mayapur, and I was a teenager, skinny boy, and very, very curious to know things. And you told me that you would be on the lower seat and I'll be on the upper seat, and I slept there. So I didn't know all these things at that time. And the most important thing, Maharaj, which has inspired me is the sense of belonging which you have given me. I often tell my friends that I don't want to forget this even after going back to Godhead.
Wow.
Yeah. And I was also pondering about one thing, that when you met Prabhupada, you were 18, 19 years old. And when Prabhupada left, you were around 27. And that is younger than what I am today. And this is such a strong resolve, such a strong motivating point for me, that following the instructions of Prabhupada 50 years from that age till now, this is such a strong impetus in my life that I won't forget this ever in my life. And I promise you that just like you have taken the legacy of Prabhupada forward all these years, I would try to do that from my side.
Thank you. Perfect.
And
Hare Krishna. And I would add to that we should all take Ymca's example and make that same vow. Let me say something. Let me say something about this, because I think it's important. When Prabhupada came, he gave us something that no one else gave us. He gave us what we were looking for, but we didn't know exactly what we were looking for, but we knew we were looking for something. And so when he gave it to us, then we realized, well, this is it. And for us, it was so valuable. And so we understood, well, this is valuable for everybody. And Prabhupada dedicated the end of his life, even risked his life to give it. So our feeling was, and the feeling of all of us as God brothers, or many of us, is that something so valuable, which is never given outside of India, now the burden is on our shoulders to give it. Prabhupada's gone. And this whole thing could fade away if we don't take care of it. And so what has motivated me, or maybe not motivated, sustained me, was something like, if I gave you the cure for COVID, I gave you the cure for cancer. In fact, if I gave you the cure for every incurable disease, you would certainly want to distribute it worldwide, and maybe more importantly, want to make sure that that distribution continues. And you couldn't live with yourself if you didn't. It's like, oh, I just want to enjoy life, forget it. Look, they can get cancer, they can die. Who cares? How could you think like that? So for us, it was like that. Prabhupada is giving the cure to every problem that exists, because they all exist on the material plane. So how could we I think for us who sustained it, it's like impossible for us. We couldn't not do that. We would have to just blank that out of our life, forget that we met him and forget Krishna consciousness. So if we always meditate on what Prabhupada did and what he gave, the value of it, and don't ever feel that the burden is on someone else, but feel the things that what we felt was, well, the burden's on me. All together, we carry the burden, not just a few people. It's not going to work that way. So if we all feel the burden's on us, what Prabhupada has given, he gave it to us, not just to his disciples, he gave it to all of you also. And it's so valuable, we have to do whatever we can to maintain it, sustain it, expand it, deliver it. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Ajinkya. That's such an important point.
Thank
So
you.
Ajinkya was
Thank you,
young, when we met, he was young and skinny, and now he's old and fat. What to do? Now he's like 29 or something, old.
Yes, Maharaj.
20 is so old. And he must weigh like 75 kilos. It's like so fat. I don't know, so old, so fat. Well, you will still get older, but you don't have to get fatter. That's for sure. But sometimes it just happens. You eat the same amount of prasadam and your body says, we're going to get bigger now. Sometimes it just happens. Hare Krishna.
Yes.
So,
Thank you, Ajay.
and you can be very old and very stupid, that's for sure. And very young and very wise. So age doesn't mean you get smarter.
Yes, Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
Danda.
So we have 4 minutes.
Yes, correct. We have Hemant. Then I think that will be our last
Hare Krishna, Guru
offering
Maharaj.
for today.
Please accept my humble obeisances. Guru Maharaj, I recorded this offering when I was in Mayapur. When you
Oh,
were
okay.
there. And what I recorded is like I actually felt like you are, when we were discussing the last offering and when you were saying actually what you are distributing, what I realized is you are distributing the love that you received from Prabhupada directly or indirectly, and you are so compassionately giving it to everyone, and you absolutely don't distinguish he is my disciple or not, and you distributing so much love to all the devotees, and I have seen like their consciousness changing in couple of weeks, And I was like, and I actually, it struck me, like, I can see the people changing, their devotees changing there just couple of weeks. So, and I was really taken aback from this, like, it's so much love Gurudev is giving. And the second thing that I notice is, like, all the devotees, your disciples or not, they all call you as a Gurudev. And which is, I find it a little different, like, because when I see the devotees going to some other Maharaj and as a Siksha disciple, they call them from their name, but they call you as a Gurudev. It's a small thing, but it struck me. It's like they love you as their own. So, and so it is because of the love that you are giving. And just moving ahead, like, I sometimes feel like what kind of love actually you all have received from Prabhupada, and so you all are so indebted by that love. And by this indebtedness, like, you are giving the love to everyone, and we are changing our life, and as you have changed mine also, Guru Maharaj. So please accept this offering from me. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Hemant. I have a story for you, which will explain why I do what I do, what you said that I do. But so Prabhupada had a servant, and it was late at night. I think he was doing the night shift, and Prabhupada came out. And he said, is there anything I can do for you, Prabhupada? And Prabhupada said, you can do what I can't do. You can go where I can't go. And he said, well, you're going everywhere. And he said, well, I can't go into the future, so you can go. That's the first half of the story. Most people know that, but I don't know if they know the second half, which relates to what you're saying. He said, you can go where I can't go, and I want you to show people through your actions that Krishna loves them. Show people through your actions and your words, of course, that Krishna loves them. Isn't that beautiful? So if someone says, what is outreach? What is preaching? Preaching is simply showing people, you're the conduit to show people that Krishna loves them. Wow, amazing, isn't it? Beautiful. Thank you. Hare Krishna. So I've read the Vyasa Puja book, and I've read the offerings that some of you sent directly, if you didn't put them in the book. So if you didn't get a chance to make your offering, just know that I've already read them after the celebration, the main celebrations. I stayed up late at night reading till like midnight, and then I got up early and finished the book. It takes a while to read it all, so that was probably 4 or 5 hours to read it. But I read it right after that evening, I believe. No, the next evening. I left it at the event. I read it the next evening. So that was Friday night, I think. So I read it Saturday night and Sunday morning. So, Hare Krishna. Thank you all very much. We have a program now that I'm going to speak at. So
thank you very much, Guru Maharaj, and we are looking forward to your next trip to India as soon as possible.
So am I. So it should be maybe around December, maybe. There's a wedding of one of my daughter's dear friends, and my daughter if she finds a job in the next 2 months, we'll have the money to go before she starts school. So you can pray. She wants to make a lot of money, but she doesn't want to work, kind of like just minor details, to work out. Yeah. Okay.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.